Hi everybody. Thank you for all your comments on the video I did yesterday. And one name that keeps cropping up and people are wondering about, of course, is Mike Griesbach. Very interesting character. So we're going to have a look at one or two things that Griesbach wrote in his book, The Innocent Killer. It's interesting, of course, that Mike Griesbach was happy to talk about the 85 case and even to appear on Making a Murder, first episode, purely to stick the boot into Dennis Vogel, which, whilst Dennis Vogel was definitely part of the problem, the real problem, of course, Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department, Couche, the verbiage. As I say, it's interesting that Mike Griesbach should talk about Dennis Vogel. When you think about it, how close these people are, you very rarely hear criticism of, people from within their own department. Even if Dennis Vogel had left office, it's still somewhat unusual, isn't it? And I often think that, is it a case of he's trying to deflect attention away to try and present himself as this fantastically honest, fine, upstanding person? His brother, we know, William Griesbach, is a judge. As I say, I'm not taken in by Mike Griesbach at all. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. But anyway, let's get on and look at a page from his book. This is page 127, the beginning of chapter 17. He wrote, District Attorney Mark Rohrer had been in office for less than 6 months when the Avery case exploded on the morning of September the 3rd, 2003. Rohrer succeeded Jim Fitzgerald by a strange route. In the summer of 2002, for what I thought then and still believe were legitimate reasons, I decided to run for DA. There hadn't been a contested election for the district attorney in Manitowoc County since 1986, when Jim won a close election against Elmer Anderson, after the recently departed but still influential Dennis Vogel threw him his support. Jody and I ran a positive but aggressive campaign, and with lots of help from family and friends, we won. But I'd worked myself to exhaustion, and when I began feeling symptoms similar to what I felt at the onset of a serious depression I'd struggled through years earlier, I decided not to take the office we'd fought so hard for. Governor Jim Doyle appointed my campaign manager, Mark Rohrer, to serve as the district attorney. And when the depression I had feared didn't materialize, I stayed on as an assistant district attorney. Very strange. Moving on. Page 204. Again, this is interesting because this alludes to this. Why did Michael Holbach get appointed as the family spokesperson? But particularly when you consider this statement. 2 days later, Calumet County District Attorney Ken Kratz charged Steve with first-degree intentional homicide and mutilation of a corpse. Kratz was appointed special prosecutor after Mark Rohrer, citing a conflict of interest because of Avery's pending lawsuit against the county, including its former DA, bowed out. Now, this will make you laugh, but there's a serious side to it. He wrote, Ken's a very good prosecutor, but he loves the limelight. So he was more than happy to prosecute the case. He loves the limelight. Moving forward, 212. Again, this will make you laugh. He wrote, I knew Lenk and Colburn. They're two of the most honest and ethical cops I've ever worked with, and I knew in my heart and my mind that they'd be the last ones in the world to plant evidence. I don't know why the other officers missed the keys, note keys plural, on the previous searches, but I assumed I'd find out soon enough. Dean and Jerry cried foul. Lenk and Colburn had both been deposed in Steve's wrongful conviction lawsuit just a few weeks before Teresa disappeared, and Steve's lawyers had roughed them up pretty good. They surmised that Colburn and Lenk, angry that they'd been dragged into the lawsuit and accused of participating in Avery's wrongful conviction, were out for revenge. And remember how close Lenk and Colburn are. There's no doubt. Why was Andy Colburn running for sheriff in 2006? Because Lenk was saying, I'll give you my support. But let's carry on. Jem Lenk was understandably upset that his name was appearing in headlines all across the state recounting allegations that he was a dirty cop who had planted evidence. Quote, "Isn't there something I can do?" he asked me one day. "I've always followed the rules, and now Avery's lawyers are dragging my name through the mud. This is ridiculous." But the truth is, there was nothing Jim could do. A person charged with a crime has a constitutional right to defend himself, and that right has been interpreted broadly. And short of disclosing confidential information, like the identity of a juvenile offender, the media has a right to cover the story completely. "No, Jim," I said, "it stinks, but there's nothing you can do." Well, he's certainly trying to do something about it now. You know, one has to wonder, where do Griesbach and Colburn find the not just the time, but the finances, the resources needed to begin this kind of action, or an attempt to take action against Netflix? One wonders if Jim Lenk has been approached. One final quote, just to show you what sort of person this just beggars belief that he wrote this book after Ken Kratz's sexting scandal broke, and he wrote this. Page 240. "The first day of the trial finally arrived. Kratz delivered a 3-hour opening statement that, if predictable, was compelling, using a PowerPoint presentation with photographs and high-tech schematic drawings. He drew a picture in the juror's mind of the Avery salvage yard with its cluster of trailer homes and outbuildings that served as the offices, garage and living quarters for the family." Now get this. "And speaking in his pleasant, low-key, comforting way, he laid out a convincing account of Avery's guilt, and the jurors, especially the older ones, took to him immediately. 'I promise,' he assured them, 'by the end of this case, you will have no doubt who murdered Teresa Halbach.'" Dean Strang hit a home run for the defence. With his sincere and thoughtful demeanour, he asked the jurors not to prejudge his client's guilt. Once they heard all the facts, he told them they would have serious doubts about the state's evidence, including how the victim's keys got into Avery's bedroom and how his blood got into her car. He said the sheriff's department focused almost entirely on the defendant in the investigation because of their disdain for him, calling their technique tunnel vision. So once again, by all means, please do pop in your comments as usual. It's always great to read them. I know one or two of you were a bit confused about Mike Griesbach, but it was Mike Griesbach, I think, that is behind Andy Colburn trying to pursue this this civil suit. One wonders where they're getting the financial support from, but I can't see any way that Laura and Moira are just gonna back down and say, oh well, okay, then we'll just we'll just pay you whatever you want in settlement. I don't think there's been any of that thus far. Anyway, listen, we'll catch you all again soon. Saturday midday New York time, which is my 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm going to chat with Woody Man, a legend guitarist, and then of course another legend, 8 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock Wisconsin time. I'll have a chat with the Pete Dassey. Anyway, catch you all again soon. Bye for now.